Coming up on the program, it's time to plant our garlic because fall has arrived. And we'll talk about expanding your garden without digging in the ground. All that and more coming up today on the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener is sponsored in part by, for all your non-GMO, heirloom, organic, vegetable, flowers, and herb seeds, visit dollarseed.com. Sioux Growing Supply, located in Wausau, Wisconsin, focusing on certified leaf compost, an excellent amendment for poor soil, retains moisture and adds nutrients, which equals less watering. Available in Sioux organic seed starting kits, pre-filled trays and pots, bag and bulk. Visit SiouxCompost.com. Don't poison your soil with municipal water. Attach a body, mind, and soil hose and filter. Free shipping exclusively through the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com. Just click on the body, mind, and soil icon. Authentic Haven brand soil conditioner for the home gardener. Easy to brew, 100% organic. Visit MinureTea.com. Welcome to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener. I'm Joy Baird. Well, fall had to come sometime, and it's here. And that means we have one more major task in the garden, and that's to plant garlic. Garlic is one of the most easiest plants that I think there is to grow. You plant it in the fall, and then you don't do much of anything to it until mid-spring when you harvest the scapes, and then a few weeks later you harvest the bulbs from it. Very easy plant to grow, and it is really self-maintenance. You don't have a whole lot to do with it. Now, one of the things that we're doing here is we've got 60 cloves in here, 3 different varieties of garlic. Now, based on your growing area, you'll need to do research to find out which particular varieties grow best in your area. We have German Hardy, Georgia Crystal, and Spanish Roja garlic. I don't know which is which. Doesn't really matter. We've taken the largest bulbs that we harvested this spring, saved them strictly for the purpose of replanting them. In each bulb, you will have between 4 and 12 cloves. You will want to take the largest cloves and save them to plant. The larger the cloves are, the larger the bulbs that you're going to get come next year. The nice thing about garlic is you can plant 30, 40, however many varieties you would like to in one particular location, and they're not going to cross-pollinate. The clove that you plant is a direct duplicate or clone of the mother plant, and you can continue to save that for years to come. If you find or have a small clove, you can plant that over and over again until you get large cloves, but this may take 4 to 6 years. So what we've done here is we've pre-soaked our garlic cloves, the largest ones, in authentic Haven brand Moo-Poo tea. This will give them a very healthy jump start. The Moo-Poo tea is a soil conditioner that can also be used for hydrating seeds as an organic energy drink if you want to label it as such. So we're going to go ahead and, now these have been soaking for about 16 hours. You can soak these from anywhere from 12 to 24 hours. The larger the seeds you have, the longer you'd need them to soak to get fully hydrated. So now that that's done, we're going to take and just pour these into a larger container so I can manage them better. Now, when I'm talking about large cloves, that is 1 clove of, and I know that's the Spanish Roja because of the color, but that is 1 clove. And that's the size of many of these. So they're very, very large cloves, the largest that we have ever grown, and we are very pleased with this. The size of them. I'll just pull a handful out here and demonstrate and show what we've got. Now, there is a right and a wrong way to plant these. The bulb that you get will encase many of these cloves here, such as this. So you'll bust it open and each clove will represent a seed. You will see a pocket of what once was roots and what will be roots that will go in the ground. The pointy part will go above. We're going to head over to the garden, or over to the bed that we're going to plant these in, and we'll talk more about the techniques here of planting. Now, we're at the area here, the bed that we've been prepping, and we've got one onion here that we're going to leave in for a little bit longer to see if we can make it grow any larger. But here's what we're going to do. You want to plant garlic about 30 to 40 days before your first frost, that we like to do before our first frost. Now, what we're establishing here is we're getting these in the ground in the fall to develop good root system. Now, we will, based on how warm the fall is, we will have some top growth, but that's not a bad thing. We've had, in years past, we've had about 3 to 4 inches of top growth, and we've had the coldest winter on record, and we had the best harvest of garlic we've ever had. So we're not concerned about top growth. What we are concerned about is getting these in the ground, and that's part of the preparation, is pre-soaking them with Moo Poo teas so the cloves are fully hydrated and they can begin to establish roots in the ground before it gets cold and the ground freezes. So we want to plant these about 1 foot, 10 inches to 12 inches apart. Now I'm going to go lengthways here, which will match up, you know, it'll be a square if everything kind of parallel if everything works out right. So we'll just start at this end here. Okay, we're going to start at this end here. Now, one thing you want to keep in mind is garlic likes full sun. So right now in the fall, the sun is kind of that direction, comes up over my head, and in front of me it will set. So you want to keep in mind of where the sun's going to be relative to in the spring, and based on the length of the garlic takes to grow, where it's going to be in the summer. So, and this bed here is not going to be utilized for anything else except for garlic for about 9 months. So you want to keep that in mind as well, that the area that you choose is going to be occupied for the majority of the year. So you could come in here with a tiller, till this up, loosen it all up, and plant your garlic. We're not going to do that. We've harvested the onions that was here, and all we're going to do is take the garden trowel and make a little hole where we're going to plant our garlic. The garlic's going to be planted approximately 2 inches deep, and I may need to make a little bigger hole because our cloves are very large. I'm just going to grab any one I get, and again, we want to plant it with the pointy portion up, and as I spoke about, the roots, or what will be the roots, down. About 2 inches down, and we'll cover it up. Now I'm going to go ahead and plant rows here, and then once I get done, I'm going to cover them all up. And then we'll talk more about, if you're in the southern portions of the United States, there are some techniques on how to grow garlic successfully, even though garlic is more of a cool climate crop. All right, so I've got 32 planted in this bed here, and I've got a total of 60 prepped, or 60 cloves soaking. So we're going to take and do the rest of the planting up where the potatoes was earlier this year. And once we run out, we'll come back and figure out how many more we need to finish that bed out, so we have 2 full beds of garlic. And we'll plant some at the small garden as well as the sister-in-law's backyard garden, with a total of being somewhere around, I'm thinking about 110 to 120 cloves of garlic planted. Each year we kind of increase the volume a few more cloves. The first year we were at 90, last year I think we was at 100, so I figured let's bump it up a little bit more. So I've got these holes 2 to 3 inches deep. I put the bulb in the right way, facing with the roots down. So now all I'm going to do is come in here with the back side of the rake and just cover these holes back up to a level grade to make sure that we get all these cloves covered. And then I'm just going to walk away, and we will begin to see some growth out of these probably in another 3 to 4 weeks if the weather really stays warm. And then as the spring breaks next year, we will see these things emerge out of the ground very rapidly as the ground warms up. So that's really that easy to plant garlic. Now, garlic is a cool weather crop. grows very well in the northern portions of the United States. If you are in the southern portions of the United States and have had difficulty growing garlic or want to grow garlic, garlic needs a certain amount of cold hours, and there's some techniques on how to manage to trick the plant into thinking it has acquired those cold hours necessary to grow properly. We did an interview with Carolyn Binder. She's from Florida. She grows garlic very successfully in Florida. We interviewed her in our 2014 Fall Digital Magazine, which you can find on our website. It's the one with the pumpkins on the cover of it. It'll also be in the show notes below, where we go and ask her how she successfully grows garlic in a climate such as Florida. And she gives us some very unique and interesting tips to make your garlic growing more successful in the southern portions of the United States. So I'm going to finish planting this, plant the other bed, and wait in anticipation for next year to where we can have another successful garlic harvest. Growing in containers is a great way to expand your growing area, whether you have ground to grow in or not. We've got a root maker here, well, two different varieties of what the root maker are. This one here's got zucchini or eggplant in it. We've got 3 nice purple eggplants on there. What we're going to focus on here is this cucumber plant. We've got in a high 3, I believe it is. Now we've got we've really got too many cucumber plants in this container, but what I want to show you is that this is a bush variety cucumber. It's a hybrid variety, and it is putting on cucumbers. Now these should be the normal size of a cucumber, the 1.5 inches in diameter to 4 to 5 inches long. There's a couple reasons why these cucumbers may look the way they do. Inaccurate or inconsistent watering, which that may be the case because before we put it in this container here, this basically self-watering container, it got super dry as the flowers were being put on it. Number 2 can be a lack of correct pollination. If the bees don't pollinate them just right, or there are not enough bees to pollinate, you will get short, irregular shaped cucumbers. But nevertheless, these are a cucumber that can still be sliced up and ate. It can be grown in a container because it is a bush variety, and it works really well. I've got another one here that actually is putting on some better growth on it, and I do have some baby ones. I just saw a baby one here that's got some growth. Oh, there it is. That's got some growth on it as well. So growing in containers is a great way to expand your growing area, whether you have ground to grow in or not.
Our tomatillos are ripe, and the reason you can tell they are ripe because they fill up the husk, and there's a husk on there, and that's pretty normal. So you can kind of feel it. If you're not sure, you can always peel it back a little bit, and as you can see, it's this nice green color. If it was like a yellowish green, that would mean that it's either overripe or underripe, but it definitely, there's a little bit of airspace in there, but it's definitely starting to fill up the husk. It does have like a stickiness to it, so you just rinse that off when you're ready to use it. They'll store in the fridge for about a week. You can make green salsa, you can roast them. There's lots of recipes online for different things. You can even make like a tomatillo guacamole with some avocados. So you just they're pretty easy to grow. You do need more than one plant to grow them, but once they start to grow, you'll get a good amount. So there's our small harvest. We still have some more growing and developing. Now they can get rotten pretty quickly. As you can see, we only had one rotten one, but the husk got yellow and it's got kind of a rotten, gross bottom. So we're just gonna toss that into the compost. The reason why you want 2 or more plants is just for proper pollination. So make sure if you do grow these that you grow at least more than 1 plant. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna roast them this evening for dinner.
So you may be a lot like us and you've exceeded the limits of your backyard for growing capabilities, or you don't have a backyard, a patio, porch, or deck, or you're just not able or choose not to dig in the ground traditionally, and you don't want to go buy the lumber for a raised bed. Well, we're in the first category where we've exceeded our backyard growing capabilities. We've got this bed here of daylilies. Now, we don't care much for the daylilies, so we wanted to figure out how we can utilize this area to grow. So we attempted to dig the area out, and we soon found that there was many roots and a very difficult dig because of the tree behind me. So our next option was a pop-up raised bed or a pop-up bed of some sort. Well, one of the companies that we work with, entitled Rootmaker, they're a primary sponsor of our 2015 podcast series that you can find on our website, as well as they're coming back for 2016. They have a number of devices that would work for this particular area. Now, by no means are we telling you you should go out and buy their product. We're simply informing you of a product that is available that would be perfect for this particular application in our instance, and it may also work for your particular growing area property as well. Now, what this device is, and you've seen us use these, is called a Root Trapper 2. And the initial design of these were for growing tree roots in them. To get the roots, they don't bind, they don't wrap, they produce a lot of fibrous roots. Well, now we can also take this ingenuity and utilize it in our edible gardening world. Now, this here is a 15-gallon. They come in 15, 30, and they're smaller ones, but 15, 30, 45, and 60-gallon grow bags. Now, just as a reference, I'm going to put this one here. This is a 15. A 60-gallon grow bag is what we're intending to use, possibly 2, maybe 3 in this area. They're 36 inches in diameter, they're circular, and 15 inches high. Now, for those of you who've been gardening for very long, you understand that 15 inches high is an over excessive amount of depth for growing vegetables. So we would only really need to utilize about 8 to 9 inches at max. You know, if you're going to grow carrots, you might want to put a few more inches of soil in there. So for a 60-gallon grow bag at max capacity, that's going to be about 9 cubic feet of soil. But since we're only going to utilize about 8 or 9 inches and leave the rest empty, that's going to really reduce the amount of compost that we're going to need. Now, with this particular bed, we're looking at roughly 12-ish feet. Now, with those grow bags being 36 inches in diameter, that's going to really put everything side by side real tight. Now, we might go to a 45-gallon, which is 30 inches, and utilize that way. But what I'm getting at here is nice white, clean looking grow bag. Would look nice up against the house, and it's an alternative to digging up the ground, and it's a nice raised area to where you don't have to be on your knees, or if you have mobility issues. So this would work great if you have a patio, porch deck, or area where you can't dig. So we're going to utilize that in this area here because we can't dig the ground unless we had a backhoe because of the number of roots there are. So it's another way of expanding our area to grow more produce and make it easier on us without having to work the soil, reducing weeds because we're adding fresh compost to it, and making it look eye-pleasing as well. Thanks for joining us. Join us again next time for more organic gardening and food preserving. I'm Joy Barrett, and this has been the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener.
For more information, please visit thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com.